Hello, everyone. My name is Sheila, and I'm with SFT Transformational Healing. Just if anyone happens to ever catch these videos on YouTube and you don't know who I am, I do energy work, intuitive work, massage, and I do the intuitive work and the energy work I do in person and remotely, and obviously the massage I do in person. If I can ever figure out how to do that remotely, that will be amazing. Anyhow, I want to get right into it. My website's linked in here in my bio if you want to reach out to me, find me. And at the end of the video, I'll just give you a little bit of a heads up on some events and things coming up and updates on that. Now, moving into this latter half of this month, I'm just doing this a day or two early because I wanted to get in the new moon ritual. It's not my ritual, by the way. I gave credit to who the ritual came from, but I am going to post it in the show notes or the video notes here. And I'll also have it linked into my newsletter. So you can do that tonight. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. There's three main themes. They're not coming like in a sense of order, like first, second, third, but just kind of interwoven in there's a theme of an interwoven theme throughout this update of the feminine rising, new systems building, and inside out job. Now, feminine rising is the divine feminine. Like, watch what women are doing. The healed feminine is on fire and manifesting rapidly. So just pay attention to what you see happening. It doesn't mean that men aren't on fire and men are not ascending and manifesting. But when we see the cues happening with the women and we see the healed woman really coming forward in her voice and coming forward with a healthy voice and speaking her truth and manifesting, that is a cue of what is available to everyone. So when we see that happening more and more, we know we're moving further and further into this age. We're in this age of Aquarius. We're in the new earth. We're moving into the new systems building, the new systems where the new systems include the healed divine feminine, the feminine having not feeling excluded anymore, feeling her voice included and feeling her power seen. And this is also going to heal the divine feminine in men because each of us has a divine masculine and a divine feminine. And so while we heal as our in our divine feminine, we're also able to bring in the healed masculine, and those together create a new consciousness. This is also very much an inside out job. So as we clear, we're going to be aware that we're needing less, like affirmation, in a way that we're able to do the work without becoming codependent on things outside of ourselves in order to reach the new systems, in order to build. It's an inside out job. I'm not going to talk as much about the inside out job in this video, but that will be something that comes through a little bit more tonight in the meditation circle that I'm going to be doing, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. I'm trying to keep these under 20 minutes, and if I start running off of tangents on topics, then this could go for easily an hour. So as we approach the midpoint of the month, we have all been through the fire by now in some way. June really created the conditions for the fire. So as we move through, as we had been moving through the end of June into early July, it was really a perfect storm ready to ignite. And I feel like this is no coincidence that on June 19th, that's when the pocket fires started to develop in Sedona. And those are thankfully slowly and surely getting contained. So the destruction is leading to the rebuild. And now we are in the energy of the new moon in Cancer, which was officially this morning. I'm in Central Time Zone. There's a little ritual that you can do. Again, that will be included in this email and also will be in the notes on the YouTube video. Um, Highly recommend, highly recommend that you add the ritual into your routine tonight. It'll take about 10 minutes. This I actually did the ritual last night with my daughter so that I could have the tools to support the women tonight in the group. And then when I come home tonight, my daughter and I are going to burn off the parts of that ritual. There's also, you can rip it up or tear it up and throw it away. Okay, so back to the destruction. So the destruction is leading to the rebuild. Okay. And this rebuild isn't just like any type of monthly rebuild or like a rebuild after a retrograde or even like a quarterly rebuild. This rebuild really feels like the fuel for the Lionsgate portal, which is coming up on August 8th. So take the time right now to anchor into the energy of this new moon. So this rebuild is important because, just straighten my camera here, it is the foundation for all that the solstice energy. So there's an order to everything that has happened so far this year. So uh, let me just first talk about the rebuild. So the rebuild is a foundation. There's a lot of themes about foundation coming up right now. And that's part of this new, like building new systems and understanding that we can build our new system from the inside out. I can build a system of safety in my life. I can build systems of financial sovereignty that I wasn't taught, that I didn't learn from a book, that I didn't learn from a teacher, that I didn't learn from a mentor. I can teach that to myself by embracing the experiences that I have been through. So the rebuild is the foundation for all of the solstice energy that has cleared out so that we can begin to live more authentically. So circle back and think about some of the forecasts from the beginning of the year. The pace of the clearing has increased in intensity up until about this point. And I feel like this is almost like the maximum point that we're at right now. I really don't feel the latter half of this year is going to be nearly as intense as the first half of the year. Now, this doesn't mean that it's not going to be intense in movement, but I feel it's going to be a lot more positive. I even felt this, I feel, as early as October or November last year in private sessions with clients when I was forecasting and feeling ahead in time. I always felt that things were going to be somewhat a little bit more difficult until we got through July. And I was feeling a lot more ease about August onwards. So, the latter half of this year feels like it's going to be a lot more fruitful, abundant, and prosperous. In my own life, I'm not going to get into the story, but I'm happy to share it with anyone who would like to ask me privately, either coming in for session or if you want to reach out to me. But in my own life, the end of June leading into present day, I would say probably leading into Saturday, just this past Saturday, um, was probably one of the most intense periods of my year so far. Ironically, I experienced lots of upgrades in my foundation, but that did not come easily. And there was lots of purging and a lot of releasing and a lot of pain. And everything's okay with my health. Everything's okay with my family. Um, all of these things had moved through external structures, but it was just a shock and a surprise, and it went on way longer than it had to. Definitely, there was a lot of money that was exchanged in the things that had happened, and there was a lot of obviously pain around that, like the scarcity mindset, and why is this happening to me, and just having to be incorporate the all of these things happening and keep balance in all the areas in my life. So I definitely feel like I'm on the other side of that, and I can see why it all happened. And as it was happening, I wasn't trying to understand it because I didn't want my mind to be overly consumed. I was feeling the feelings and letting it purge through me. And then as I was going through it, I started to understand and see why, oh, this is, for some of you, it could be different things that you're working through, financial sovereignty, or maybe you're working through finding your voice, or maybe you're working through um, your purpose. And there's different reasons why. I'm going to just get into more detail in just a minute, but I wanted to offer some encouragement to anybody that feels like they're being put through the fire right now. Just like those pocket fires in Sedona, there might be some pocket fires coming up, some different pockets of your life right now. And the containment is building, it's getting stronger right now. So as those fires are getting contained in Sedona, we're containing those, putting out those fires and containing them. Now, I'm also a Cancer. Mercury retrograde is in Cancer, new moon is in Cancer. So if you feel like, for all you Cancers out there, you might be or have strong Cancer placements in your astrological sign, you might be getting whammied a little bit more. You're not alone. So we are all rebuilding. Very clear. We're all rebuilding. All right. I want to take you to this end of the forecast. I also want to share, I want to just circle back to the latter half of this year as we move into August and September and so on and so forth. It's not an automatic given that those months are going to be just easy and abundant and fruitful and happy and quick manifestation. I've always said this in my updates in one way or another. It's an inside out job in the way that you have to choose. It's your choice. So if things are happening to you and you're avoiding and you're doing things to numb and you're not feeling it, you don't get to go past all the way over to manifestation and abundance. So for those of you that are really sticking with it and you've been watching these updates or doing watching other people's updates or going to receive energy work or meditating or doing things to journal and following the prompts. I'm always giving prompts in my emails and I try to post them in these videos. This is building you up with your new infrastructure, your new system, inside out job, building new systems, and the resurrection of the divine feminine. So those are the things that are leading us into the abundance, the latter half of this year. So I want to take you into the end of the forecast by just sharing, like, oh, I just said it. Don't have to say that again. But what I do want to highlight is stewing in things is another thing. So if we're stewing in the consequences of anything that has been taken away from your life, that could also slow things down. So as we wind down over the next 2 weeks, it's an opportune time for closure. And I was hearing this again and again and again, that this pocket of time right now is being highlighted as a high priority for closure moving into Lionsgate, which is August 8th. So a little footnote on closure. When you are creating closure or closing loops or closing a chapter, do it from a neutral space. So while all this stuff was happening, I waited until it was done and I had like a little blessing that I created around that. And if you need help with that, let me know. Um, that I used once I was finished processing, once all the repairs were finished. I looked at everything that happened. I thanked the experience for showing me what it needed to show me. And once that emotion was processed and I was in that neutral space, I spent no more than a minute or two. And then I looked at everything. I said, this is complete. I no longer need to run energy in my life through. I'm going to actually give you some prompts here. So I don't have this written. So if you want to pause the video and write this down, you can. So meaning process the emotion and then approach whatever is happening with a sense of order and surrender to the timing. And then as you see the repairs being made, or whether it's a repair to something physical, like in your house or your car, or relationships are repairing, mark it as complete. So you can say either in your head or out loud, thank you for the lesson that taught me about blank. And I understand that I no longer need any more lessons about blank by having blank happen in my life. And I am complete. It's not like something to that extent, like really non emotional, really simple. And then if you notice yourself like mentally regurgitating the experience, either by someone saying, oh my gosh, what happened? Or in your head, like something else happens in your life and you're making a connection between what already happened, that's going to like strengthen that energy. And we don't want to bring that energy back again. So just stop yourself and just in your head, just nope, experience over. If someone asks you what happened, you can just say, you know what, everything's okay right now. I was just processing a lot and I feel like it's over and I just don't want to talk about it. And redirect your focus elsewhere. If it's going on inside your head and you notice that you're regurgitating the story, just say, nope, I'm done with that. And just move on. Shift your focus elsewhere. Go for a walk. I don't know, pull out a book, journal, make something to eat. Anyhow, I will be back in 2 weeks. I'll either do the next energy update on the 31st or August 3rd, because I won't be available to do this on the 1st or the 2nd of August. And at that point, we're out of Mercury retrograde, but we'll still be a little bit in the shadow. Sometimes the shadow can be just as strong or stronger than the actual retrograde period. And typically, I think it lasts around 7 to 10 days. So just be aware, like, there could be some overlap of like the intensity of the Lion's Gate with the shadow of the Mercury retrograde. I think the everything will like close off around, don't quote me, but around August 12th or 15th, somewhere in there, will be completely done on all of this. So between now and then, like this next month, 3 to 4 weeks is a really powerful time for closure, laying the foundation for all these new systems that you're creating for yourself in your life. It could be around finance, it could be around your purpose in your job, it could be around your heart space and what you're bringing in for love and relationships, etc. It could be for health, a new health template that you're creating. So I will be back. I wish you a beautiful end of the month. Just a couple reminders. Um, the sound bath is on hiatus for the summer. I did this last summer and it was really necessary and I felt it again. So I will be back either end of August or end of September for monthly sound bath for women. However, I am feeling called. I was asked to start a women's circle, and that is it's structured, but it's something where I get to kind of interact and share as well, and it's really lovely. So that will meet on Tuesdays. We started last week on 7/7. We're not doing 7/21, but we'll do tonight 7/14 and 7/28, and then I'll continue to announce the schedule for August. It's at my office. It's 7 o'clock. It's women only, and tonight we're going to do the new moon ritual. There's still time to join if you happen to see this video before 7 o'clock tonight. And that's all I've got. So have a beautiful end to the month. And I look forward to seeing some of you either in private session or massage, energy work, intuitive massage, women's circle, um, or I will see you for the next video in 2 weeks.